Yes.
Or get your card.
You did.
Ready? Okay, is everybody ready? We're gonna begin. Take your time, Chef.
Here's how I always do.
Okay, then we're not gonna change anything for sure. All righty, good evening, everybody, and also Happy New Year. And welcome to the Duluth CSD regular meeting of the Board of Directors on this date, January 18th, 2024. This meeting is now called to order. Let's begin with roll call. Mr. Bowman.
Here.
Carol. Here. D'Alessandro. Rawson. Here. Roberts. Here. And everybody will join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you, everyone. All righty, moving along smartly. Agenda item B. Well, hello there, Deputy Perez.
Hello, ma'am.
How are you?
Standing.
Oh, good.
Also, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Okay, actually, this is by far probably that's month we've had in a while in terms of up there. No calls for service regarding anything serious. Which I worked on New Year's Eve and I just kept on hitting all the lookouts and I kept turning everybody out of there. So we had no calls for fireworks or shots fired in our area. So, which is pretty good. The funny part about it, when I was up there, I had a bunch of people with our lookouts. And I'm like going, hey, you guys shouldn't be here. It's a red zone, no parking, da, da, da. I go, why you guys coming up there for the fireworks? I go, no, fireworks is the 4th of July. This is New Year's. And of course, as I'm talking, there's fireworks standing behind me. And I'm like, oh, that didn't happen. You see that? But no, please stop coming up here. There's vandalism stuff, and people do, literally, so, let's take care of not that night for legal parking. So I guess that was a good outcome on that. About 2 months ago, I think about, we had a burglary where the suspect went back 2 times to the same location, in one day. We were able to identify him and he was arrested. So he went to our jail at Southwest Detention Center. On the same lines that we used to capture his movement, we have now have 2 more cameras, flock cameras on Duluth Road. That are there now. So we, of course, my department has access to them for our investigations. Also, everything's going on really well with the 2 flock cameras being moved over towards Rancho California, just east of Via Santa Rosa. So that'll capture all traffic coming in from Temecula into our district. So that will help for our investigations also. We're just waiting for the HOA for that area to approve to pay for the movement, and that'll be completed shortly. That pretty much covers everything. If the board has any questions.
How are we doing on the kiosks, the mail kiosks?
They got hit. I'll say this again, they put some flock cameras over by one of the locations of being hit, and since they put the cameras there, they haven't been hit.
Good.
That's one of the good things about cameras, they're good deterrents. So I'm happy about that.
Okay, very good.
High-speed chase yesterday up there?
Yes, it started in Temecula, came up to our area, went back to Temecula, and got him. The Temecula Police Department got him with the
No.
sheriff department.
I thought he went over to La Cresta, but okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he made a little, he came up, realized that he was at Carancho and Duluth, like, oh, we're going our way, but he went back. So we got him. Any other questions from the board? Audience? No? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, Isabel, any comments, cards, or anything? Okay, very good. Thank you. Moving along. Okay, agenda item D. This is 2022-23 financial statements. Robert.
Yes, the finance committee reviewed them yesterday with Mr. Salmonson and Mr. Jay and Mark are here tonight, who will make a presentation. We'll let them present.
Okay.
And then we will open up for questions. And then we will tell you a little bit about what we did at the committee.
Okay, very good.
Let's go ahead.
Welcome. Come on up.
In your packet, hopefully there's a dashboard.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we'll be covering that part of our presentation. Gives us a nice walkthrough between the two fiscal periods.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Jared Solomon. I am an audit manager with Nigro and Nigro, and I oversaw the 22-23 audit this year. So
Senior manager.
senior manager.
That mean you graduate, you go somewhere else next year?
Same on 2000. Okay, before we do the dashboard, I'll start off with the opinion. So we gave a clean opinion on the financial statements this year. No issues. We were happy with what we saw. No concerns about internal controls, segregations of duties, anything like that. The district is moving in the right direction as far as hiring external consultants and adding more staff. So all good there. So we'll start with the dashboard here, right at the top here, program revenues. As you can see, we have a nice comparison between 22 and 23 here. Revenues are very stable. Benefit fees, special tax assessments, all those very stable. Slight increase in miscellaneous revenue. There were some additional reimbursements this year. Overall, that brings us to a change here of a positive increase of 60,749 in revenue. So revenues increasing. Next, we'll go down here to general revenues. We have investment earnings, 115,000 this year versus minus 59,000 or 51,000 roughly last year. That's just due to changes in the market. Interest rates are increasing, so much better return on the cash this year. Last year, we had a sale of capital assets for 60,000, nothing this year, so that's why I'm explaining. Overall increase of 167,000 in revenue. Next, we'll go down here to expenses. Those are operating expenses here. We have a slight increase of 88,000 in salaries and wages. That's due to your annual pay increases as well as additional staff. Employee benefits, we see a big change here, a decrease of 590,000. Keep in mind that's mostly due to non-cash items. It's the change in the annual valuation of the net pension, net OPEB liabilities. So saw a big decrease last year and a big increase this year, so nothing to be concerned about there. Increase 190,000 in materials and services, inflation, as well as some additional road improvements this year. Takes us to the next line item there, road maintenance. A lot of improvements this year, a lot of repairs. Public safety, very stable. It's increased about 30,000 there, and what you paid for sheriff services up there. Depreciation expense, pretty stable, decrease in 81,000. We had some items probably fully depreciated, some items dropped off last year. Interest expense down slightly. We're going to see that decreasing all the way to zero here in the next couple of years as the district pays off their debt. There's only 2 years left on the payment. So a total change in revenue, or so the change in that position, it was negative 1,372,000. So look at that as your kind of net income, net loss for the year. Less than a loss than last year, but still a loss. Next, we'll go down to capital outlay here. The district utilized $204,000 worth of cash to purchase new capital assets and improvements. Take that against depreciation expense of $654,000. Brings us to about $450,000 added back to cash, so it's not a use of cash. Next, we have debt service, principal payments, $47,000, up from $44,000 last year. We'll see that increasing until the debt's paid off. Which brings us down here to cash and investments. We have ended the year with $4.8 million in cash. Compare that to $5.7 million of last year. Down about $950,000. That is mostly due to the road improvements, all the cash spent there. And then down here at the bottom, a quick summary. So we're going to take the change in net position with the change in capital expense, so that's added back to cash because most of the depreciation expense is non-cash. With the debt principal payments of 47,000, that gives us a change in cash of about 970,000. Compare that to the 950,000 up there. Pretty close. The difference of the 19,000 is just, there's some other changes in accruals that are caught up in there. So down here at the bottom, you have investment earnings to portfolio. We calculated that you earned about 2.2%, which is right on our projections for what we anticipate the district should be earning at this point. Next year, we're expecting closer to 4%, maybe above with interest rates. So I know the district is already taking steps to kind of diversify their investments and earn more interest. So we're pleased to see that. And I'll open up the questions now.
Just to point out that the 950,000 is really Buena Vista, largely Buena Vista.
Sure.
So that's why, that's the big difference in last year and this year. The other thing is that I will be reporting on increases in investment earnings later on, financial report. The other thing is that you have before you the questions that we asked, that Paula asked, and the responses. This is really for the committee to validate the integrity of the audit and the relationship between the people who are doing the audit and the management. It was our opinion that there were no instances of any irregularity. So we're very pleased with that. I'd like to point out one other thing. This is the first time in my memory that we've had this audit report in January.
Very true.
So he did promise us this. They are delivering.
Very good.
So we're very pleased.
December next year, huh, Teresa?
Well, I suggested that at the board meeting.
Got it.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
Oh,
Quick
wait,
question.
one quick question.
Yes, sir.
Been taught to ask in occasions like this, is there anything that we should ask you that we didn't?
I think there's something that we're curious about, something that Jim was talking about the last time we spoke, was about the gas tax. Is anything movement on that
Well,
as a
we'll be-
revenue?
Well, that's the next item.
Yeah, it will be
Yeah.
next, yeah,
Well, I think we're gonna sit tight for a little bit.
yeah.
We're gonna have another bill.
Yes.
Oh, good.
And then it's on the screen of our lobbyist,
Yes,
and he's gonna give a report to the board about where that stands. So,
right, good. Yeah.
so, yeah, stay.
So
stay
will
tuned.
California be nice and approve?
Yeah, we're still,
Yeah,
just don't place any odds right now,
exactly.
but we're being optimistic. So, yes. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you. Good
Well
job.
done, everybody. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Colin. Yes, thank you. We met our commitment. Very good. Okay,
Yeah.
moving along here. Agenda E, information. The following items are intended for information purposes only, and they include the financial statements, second statement of investment policy. Directors, any comments or questions? No? Okay, then we'll move on to the next item here very quickly, and that will be Agenda F, and this is the consent calendar. And that includes the minutes of the December 1st, 2023 special board meeting, minutes of the December 2023 regular board meeting, general fund claims for December 2023, sheriff's special tax claims for December 2023, purchase orders, there were none. Directors, any questions?
No.
Motion to approve? Okay, is there a second?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, Bowman?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
D'Alessandri? Rawson?
Aye.
Roberts, aye. Unanimously approved. Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, moving on to our favorite topic here, Agenda G, legislative topics. Welcome, Cyrus.
Thank you. And in answer to the question, no, California's never nice, but that's good for my business model, because if it was, you wouldn't need me. So what we're gonna, I'm here to give an update on where we're at with the gas tax legislation. The big news, in California for the week is, the governor's budget proposal came out. So, I've been diving into it. I can answer any questions if you have, but I'll just leave it to you to ask questions if you're interested, and I'll just go on with my report. But like I said, no new legislation, but the budget's out. Let me know if you're interested. So with that, moving on, where we're at with the legislation, we're in a very good place. We're working with Saratoga staff. As you know, he came and spoke to us and told us everything that we were hoping to hear, and they have followed through. The request has been put into Ledge Council. I just got language back not long before this meeting of the Ledge Council's proposed draft of the bill. So another word, actually no one's seen it yet, except for Saratoga staffer. Jim hasn't seen it, Ward hasn't seen it, and I haven't opened the email. So, but that will happen soon. And regardless of what it says, we have plenty of time to tweak the language if there's anything about it we don't like. So we are well ahead of the curve here right now. Bills have to be introduced by February 16th. So we're gold. We're a month out before we even have to put this bill across the desk. So far, all indications are good. Saratoga staff is in communication with the county staff, and county staff appears to be playing nice. If this pans out, it will set up a trip back to the community consultant that Jim and I met with earlier, late last year, to say, hey, we have achieved a breakthrough. We have changed circumstances. And so that leads to, we're going to get a different outcome this time, right? So, all I can say right now is so good so far. There's a long, long, long way to go. However, we're off to a good start. So that beats a bad start by light years. So I'm happy to report that much at least. So with that, that's where we're at. Nothing more to report at this time. Language is forthcoming. Let me pause there. Are there any questions I can answer?
Questions? Robert?
No.
No? Okay. Well done. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure. Good seeing you.
Okay, take care. Thank you. Certainly keep our fingers crossed on that. That's okay. Moving on.
Bye-bye.
Okay, moving on. Let's see. We're on agenda 8, Wildan District Engineering Contract Renewal. Jim.
Well, I'd just like to, that Will Dan's been with us since 2018.
So far,
And, at the time, Ron was the assistant district engineer. And it's been, 5 years now? And Dave has gone on to retirement, and I hear his health is good.
greener pastures.
Enjoying life. So the rates with Wildan have not increased. Generally, these are hourly rates. So they have a time sheet when we use services from various staff, including Ron. It's at a certain rate. So that has not increased since that time. This is, I think, generally 15% increase, kind of more or less across the board. And so this would be a renewal of their contract at the new rates. And then it would name Ron as the official district engineer under the contract. And so the staff recommendation would be to approve the new Wildan contract.
All righty. So just to reiterate, approval of the resolution number 2401. Wow. Amending the contract by Wildan Engineering and naming district engineer. Questions, any board members?
Well, we did discuss this in finance yesterday, and Jim gave us the report that he gave here, and I think that there's also an interest in and an understanding that there may be a significant reduction in the amount of interface with Wildan as we go on. So although there's a 15% increase, our hope is that we will be spending less over the next year.
Okay.
And so we've asked management to to take a look at that and to see if that's possible.
Okay.
Okay, and we would encourage management to do that. And I think that we were told that they would make that attempt to do that as well.
Okay, very good.
So I would make a motion that we approve that
Okay.
contract.
Do I hear a second?
Second that.
All righty, all in favor? Okay, all in favor, Bowman.
An enthusiastic yes.
Carol,
Aye.
D'Alessandri.
Aye.
Rossin.
Big eye. I've never seen someone list their hourly prices like this. It's lovely. That was very nice. Really appreciate that.
Robert's eye, unanimously approved. Well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Good
much,
point,
everybody.
Robert. Thank you.
It's been a great time.
It just didn't dawn.
Yes.
I was just
Are you a
saying,
senior engineer now too?
Oh, yeah.
And you're going down to somewhere else too?
No, I'm still here. Yeah.
you know us too well. You know
Stuck
everything
with me.
inside and out.
That's good.
Just didn't dawn on me the 5 years, your 5 years after you came on board, Jim.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, yeah, just put it all together right now. Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Welcome, thank you. Okay, let's see, we're going into agenda item I, emergency drain repairs, Jim and Raj.
Roger will make the presentation just as a reminder. Remember, we've been doing this process for a year, well, longer than that, but Raj has been actually inspecting every drain in the district for the last 6 months. He and our field crew go out. And that process, I'd set a deadline of Christmas Day or whatever. And I think he brought it in and he completed all 700 and some 3 days before Christmas. So
Oh my
he
God.
got it done.
Amazing.
And then that enabled him to put together the presentation he made to the engineering committee this week, which Vice President will be talking about a little bit later. But in the process of inspecting the drains, there was a particular drain on Caracho that he inspected, and he was on one side of the street, and he looked down the pipe, and I've actually seen a picture of this, and full daylight at the other end. Well, you know, most people are gonna, you get time considerations, you're just gonna keep going on the same side of the street because that drain is obviously open. For some reason, he went across the street and looked over the hill, and you're gonna get to see a picture of what that looked like. If that event had not occurred, the next big rain, we would have another point of vista on our hands, I believe, okay? So, good job for doing it right, not shortcutting.
Not another point of vista.
So, anyway, we quickly, because we were just entering the rainy season. So we got a bid from Marietta, we got a bid from Candy Construction, both locals. And basically Candy came in with the lowest rate and the best spec. And we hired him, and the job is now complete. So he's gonna just show you a little bit about that project. It's really not significant anymore, but it sure could have been. So anyway, go ahead and show them what we.
Hi, everyone.
I'm right.
I will start with this emergency work, which we had, and it's now completed. This is how it looked like when I inspected.
That's what he saw when he looked over the.
Right.
Right, and this is where basically they are dumping the dirt to fill up that hole. And the second step, you see in the second lower down picture, you will see they are cutting into benches. How did that fill it? And we had chilled that on site. So we approved all the compaction on it. Right, next picture, so they are just rocking around that washout. Next picture, they're compacting it here, layer by layer, bench by bench. Next picture is pushing this dirt on the other side, where you saw all the drugs in the beginning. So all these ruts are being filled up and pressed down for compaction. He's just tracking it. Next. Okay, this is a picture where our outlet drop, or you could say half the pipe, where the water goes to from the top to bottom. So we are putting anchors on each joint. There were 10 joints, 10 feet, so 100 feet, basically, from top to bottom. So every joint is being anchored. You see that anchor, he's just putting it in there. Next picture, please. Yeah, they're working, so they're on the second one now. Next picture. This is how it looks. So, and they put a bolt on top, nut, to tighten it up, double nut, so nobody can take it out. Next picture, please. Okay, this is final, that's how it looks right now. This is the final phase. You see the drop over there on the north side, wall white. That's the paint, asphalt paint, which is done after that lining is done, which you see on the top. And the inside the pipe, this is the lining, concrete lining, we call it. All right, next picture, please. Okay, this is the embankment on top, how it looked in the beginning. And at the bottom, you see how the grass is growing with the BMPs on top and, you know, so all sweepy stuff and everything is there. So shouldn't be any washout. If it occurs from the rain, it will stop it. And next, please. All right, this is on the north side now. We are not on the embankment side, but we are on the north side now. All right, north side of the road. So there was no way the water would have catered to that catch basin, or I would say culvert. So we made a trench. We made three trenches, which comes from, you see the trailer over there? There were two trailers over there. They're still there. And on left-hand side of the trailer, we dug a trench to cater the water from that well. Next slide, please. Okay, this is on outside where the road is. We made a berm so the water doesn't go through the fence. So it has to go down, go around the gate into the catch basin. And at the bottom, you see we built a wall, concrete wall. So that no water goes underneath the pipe. That wall is 2 feet down from the pipe. Next slide, please. Okay, this is, I think, from last 1 or 2 years, I've been seeing this damage of guardrail. So we took it and we replaced the guardrail. Next slide, please. You see how it looks right now. So this job is basically complete. Oh, it never happened again. Thank you. Any questions?
No, well done. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Here, let's see, agenda J, road maintenance and field crew report, Council.
All right, thank you. So this was on Cabin Jordan. We had some trees, overgrown trees over there. So we went ahead and cut them down so that way it wasn't scratching up anybody's cars as they drove by. Next slide, please. We had a good sized pothole over there on Sandia Creek, so we went ahead and patch it up so that way when people drive by, they don't go for a ride. Next slide, please. This was also on Cali Garden. Basically, this tree branch just fell from the sky. It's off that tree back there, so it just fell off. We got it out of the road and blew off the rest of the debris. So the picture on the right, that's what it looks like after all cleaned up, so traffic can get through again to not go into the other lane. Next slide, please. Still getting trash
Every once in a while, about 2 to 3 times a month, we get a call for, trash dump. This was on, via Orca, someone dumped, drywall, glass, windows, and just trash bags as well. So we went ahead and, put it in our truck and then took it back to the yard and threw it away in our dumpster. Next slide, please. This was on El Prado. This tree here, fell down, wasn't quite in the road, but it was starting to come into the roadway. So we went ahead and, cut it up there, and got it out of the way. All there's left on the right side is basically just like the bigger stump portion. Next slide, please. So we actually had to do a full tree removal on, Cali Garden as well. This tree was dead, so we had to call Dylan Dixon's crew. As you see, we don't really have something we can get up there like that. So they were the best guys for the job. So they worked their way from the top all the way to the bottom. Next slide, please. On the left side, you might be able to see it, towards the bottom, the bark's kind of missing. That's where it started, it was starting to rot out. So we didn't, and it actually had like a slit in it, so we didn't want a crazy wind to come and basically knock it over. And then hopefully, if there was any luck, a car coming by at the same time, that'd have been a really, bad situation. So yeah, they took it all the way down, and then that's like some of the scrap pieces, that they finished up with, but they, basically chipped all of it. And then I think that's it for me. If there's any questions?
In the second slide, you mentioned about the Sandia Creek patching. Is there any way, a more appropriate way of patching every little rain? It happens again, people go fast. It happened to me that people went to skip and they passed the double yellow line.
I get what you're saying. Our most recent technique, we added, actually like base into the hole. So that way hopefully it'll give it better compaction, and so far that has worked. Our most recent patch, it hasn't popped out, and I know we had one rain before we did that, so as right now, it's good. I know that area will need probably a full replacement because there is alligator everywhere as well. So, but as of right now, that our most recent patch is working.
All righty. Nicely done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda K, committee reports. Engineering.
Yes, engineering committee met yesterday, the 16th, and had quite a bit more on our plate yesterday than we normally do, reviewing the likely projects that we're going to do this coming year. And normally you get exactly the same thing here tonight or in the full meeting that we get in the engineering meeting. But this time it was a little bit more than we felt you might want to swallow one helping. As Jim said, the staff has been, along with Roger, reviewing every culvert in the district. This has been ongoing for about a year now, maybe a little more. And it's a very detailed review on our GIS system. We're able to pull up and see photographs of every culvert, the condition of it, any work that's been done on it. And from that, staff put together a list of about 40 projects that we believe are appropriate for this coming year. We wanted to give you just an overall of what we'll present to you later, probably in the February meeting, which will be our recommendation for the engineering projects for the year. It's going to be focused on the culverts. These are upwards of 50 years old, some I think probably older, without any real maintenance on many of them. The condition has been degrading for some time. These 40 that we reviewed yesterday are the ones that are at a point where they need repair now or they need work now. In some cases, a replacement, in some cases, repair. I asked Raj if he might put together a few slides just to give you a sample, we're not gonna give you all 40 of them here.
Okay.
But kind of let you see what this condition that we're in right now. And I will add that we're going to complete the review and prioritize the list of the recommended projects so that although we're going to be focusing on what's the primary zone, forgive me. We're still reviewing those in the other 5 zones so that we don't bypass one. The primary zone, of course, is where the major traffic is. We don't want to bypass a project that may need repair. In fact, there's some already identified. But we will be focusing on primary, but along with those, prioritizing any that are in the other zones that really need repair. So go ahead, Roger.
And back again. All right, before I start on those culverts, I would like to just give a background how GIS system is set up. You see on the screen over there are 6 zones, but the 6th one doesn't have anything. So we will consider it 5 zones. Our work is divided according to zones. We proceed and do our survey, what conditions they are. And there's another zone which is not shown over there, which is called primary zone. So primary zone is the main streets where they cross each other. All zones they cross each other. And this is what the primary zone looks like. Corancho Road is there, Sandia Creek is there, El Parado is there, and Guayaquil is there, Santa Ana is there. So all main streets are there. Up to this. Next, all right, now I'm over here. We'll tell you what the conditions of which I found. These are 24-inch pipe. And the bottom is corroded, it's gone. The very first one looks like somebody tried to repair the concrete, but the concrete is also coming out, it's broken. And the second one, you see it's about to do the same thing the first did. If you don't do anything over there, you will end up with the first one get corroded and something might happen. So my suggestion would be, since it's a 24-inch pipe and it doesn't have too much excavation on it, replace it. Next thing, please. All right, this is 36-inch pipe. If you see a far end, the far end is clean. And you see it? The far end is clean and there's no debris in there. On closer side, if you see, which is outlet, it's all plugged up. The reason being, channels are not clean. They are full. The outside channels are not clean. They are full of debris, so the water cannot flow through. And if the water sits and debris sits like this, the pipe is going to get corroded soon. So we have to do something on channel side too. Next slide, please. This is one of the culvert where 4 pipes are there. They're all 36 inches. The far side pipe you see is half buried. Can we go back, please? So one of the pipe over there is half buried. 3 pipes looks not bad. This is the outlet side. Next pipe. Okay, this is 7. Yeah, next slide. This is how it looks on the other side. It's getting corroded. Pretty soon it will get corroded. So my suggestion over here would be to put an inward lining, concrete inward lining, which is cheapest option to stabilize and buy more time. Next slide, please. This is what I want to show you that we found this one because nobody took care of it. This is 48-inch pipe. If in fact, if somebody would have done timely inward, concrete inward, you would have seen something like that. This is totally disaster over there. We might have to replace it. We might fix it. We will try to fix this one first by draining the water out and see if we can patch it with concrete. If it's possible, then after that, we will do the lining. Inward lining only. There are two types of lining. One is full pipe lining, and one is inward lining. Full pipe lining is almost like replacing the pipe. Cost is, if the pipe is like on an embankment, like 10 to 15 feet deep, then it makes sense to do the whole pipe lined up instead of excavating and replacing it. Because the cost varies, time varies, and you save a lot of money. But if it is like 2, 3 feet or 4 feet, replace the pipe. It's cheaper to replace the pipe than to go and reline. It is $400 to $600 per foot. The hydraulic line we were asking about yesterday, I went in there. Second slide, please. Okay, this is zone 4, which is basically, there are a couple of pipes which need attention. I think this is very close to our primary location. So these 3 pipes are 16-inch pipe. They are big ones. And if you see the conditions, see the inlet, totally gone. Nothing there. Next slide, you'll see it closely. Okay, see over here. If you went inside and there are nothing but holes in there, big holes. You see the outside, right at the edge, nothing's there. So something like this to prevent, I think we should do something. Otherwise, you lose all the culverts. So over here, what I'm going to suggest is repair, see, patch it wherever it needs, and realign the window. And go from there. If you have to replace later on, after 5, 6 years, even though the age of lining, which inward lining is like 15 to 20 years. In this case, I don't know how much it will work because it's totally degraded. We have to go step by step instead of throwing money in there and just replacing the whole pipe and 50, 60
There's a
grand.
street above that?
Yes,
Okay, what street is above that?
I think it is, what street is that?
The Sandia Creek right on the corner.
No, yeah. Eskin, what was that?
That be Del.
Zone 4.
Right. Right.
Eskin?
Sandia Creek.
Sandy would be a primary, so this is.
Yeah, you know, it's very close to Sandy Creek. I think it's like a Scandinavian, something like that, if I'm not wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes. That's where it is.
Okay.
Okay, this is what I was talking about, the lining. This is the picture which shows how big the lining should be. Basically you take 1/4 of the pipe, which is 90 degree. 360 is the round circle. 90 is 1/4 of the. So basically it's a guideline that, okay, 90 degree you go and do the lining over there, 4-inch lining with the rebar in there. And the rebar is nothing but 6-inch gauge wire. And wherever you need more strength, instead of 6-inch gauge wire, use rebar.
So just to, it's rebar, okay, right?
So
But
6-inch
it's more
gauge
like
wire,
chicken,
yeah, chicken
chicken
wire,
wire.
yeah, chicken wire.
Okay, but it's a heavy gauge
Yes,
metal.
Correct.
or whatever.
correct.
You lay that in the bottom up to 90 degrees or the bottom, right?
You can go
And
more
then-
also if you want to.
You pump concrete in there
Yes.
and create surface.
Right.
And that moves the water off the metal pipe. It's gone.
So you have a nice surface which won't corrode. Right. And you have a better life. the pipe.
I think you're also using fiber reinforced concrete, right?
If you want to use, yes, you can use. Otherwise, I would recommend instead of fiber, we can always add anything to the concrete. And on top, I want paint, asphalt paint. So nothing leaks, no water goes from sides. It just seals up it. Which is not shown here, but that's an additional.
So what's the life of this?
15 to 20 years.
But we get a lot more bang for our buck.
Yes, we do.
I won't be on the board then, so it'll be okay.
Nobody will be here.
There'll be-
That's what we have here.
The big thing about this, if you've seen those pipes, see the rusted spot is only about 90 degrees on all these, so you're taking care of the major issues of these corrugated pipes. So.
Interesting.
If you could mention when we were discussing, how long has it been since anyone's really reviewed?
Obviously, a long time.
Years and years.
The district's priority was the top, the surface
Yes.
of the road.
Right.
And it looks like that goes all the way back. In fact, we were talking in here sometime today. I don't remember who it was, you and I and somebody. I don't know. Anyway, going back in history, if the district, if we had a developer, Kaiser, and they had the district first, and we were sitting here waiting for Kaiser to get done, and then they like hand you the new car keys, okay? Well, they would have built for us roads, but roads on top of pipes, because what kills your road is water. So if you don't have any water, your road will last, for 1,000 years. It's always water is the cause. So if they handed us our brand new roads with ribbon on it and our brand new pipes, most likely we would have gone right into a maintenance mode. Because you know how it is when, you get a nice new shiny car and all that, you've got to keep it polished and everything. Well, that's what we would have done. But because that happened in phases over a long period of time, different people here, this district didn't even exist when a lot of these pipes went down. It would have been different, but the more water, the more we fix these, every one we fix means less damage to the pavement up above in the future.
Right.
So if we get all these done, and we can get the water running where it needs to be, because these pipes were put in to divert the water away from the pavement. But the maintenance priorities, if you just look back, the agenda or the minutes after minutes of these meetings, right, years and years, the priority has always been on the surface. And it kind of makes sense because that's what you see. So like when I came here, they were doing some annual rehab. So this meeting, they'd be talking about, okay, how much more Via Vaquero are we gonna overlay? That probably wasn't, if they stood back, so wait, who cares? The people on Via Vaquero are gonna pass on the back because the road's gonna look nice, for that section. But the reality is, how do we get the darn water off the road everywhere else? And that's kind of what, and the board, when I came, was beginning to see that. I mean, this goes back 6, 7, 8 years probably, is thinking about, we've got to figure out these culverts, see what we own.
First instant, Jim, that this happened was, I forget how many years ago, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, there was that major storm and Sandia Creek was affected. That was the first time, and they called FEMA in, and FEMA told them, you haven't never done anything to these culverts. So they were the problem before the storm, and we ain't paying you for it.
Right.
And that was the first time that anyone looked at the culverts as opposed to the surface of the road.
Okay.
And as far as I know, I mean, I haven't been on the board that many years, and I think that was really the first instance when we realized that this was a problem. And but the other part of that, Jim, is that nobody else would have looked at the culverts after that either.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is new, and what we're doing now is really what as you say, should have known years ago.
Yeah.
But at least we're getting to it now.
If I could kind of add to that, one of the biggest value of this, now that we're doing every culvert and actually keeping good records of everything, is we can really tell which ones are actually problem and need real work. Because right now we have 40, 50 years of just pipes filling up. So you don't know if the sediment's coming in wrongfully or if it's just been 50 years of buildup. And now if we get everything cleaned out, we get everything to a somewhat zero right now where everything's kind of clean. And we can start identifying the real issues where this one's filling up with sediment in 2 weeks. But we know that one, we need to do something, we need to do a project around that one. So that, right now, cleaning everything out, getting everything kind of to a good working order, we can really identify where the real issues are better with what's going on right now.
Very good. Okay.
Right. Thanks for presenting that.
I have a question for
Sure.
Ron, please. Who decides to repair versus replace?
Or, I mean, I give recommendations, but it's ultimately everything.
Engineer wise.
Hmm?
Engineer wise, you hire team or?
Well, we have a full engineering team basically that goes in and then we hire.
They're an engineering firm.
Yes, so we are contracted out by the district basically, and then also at Willdale, we have inspectors like Raj, that's how Raj came on board basically, and he's the one who has all the field knowledge, goes out there. Then we get all our information from the inspectors, and me as a professional engineer and my team of PEs kind of reviews all the data and makes a recommendation, but ultimately, the decision is coming always to the board. I give recommendations, but the other ones are gonna figure out how to use the money.
So like all the information that Raj showed us right now, these are the kinds of things that we take a look at. And so we have that visualization, and then when they go to the recommendations, you start to put two and two together. So yeah, bottom line, it rests right here with us.
The general flow is the staff is doing stuff daily. Monthly, the cumulative of what they have either worked on or believe needs to be worked on comes to the committee. The committee then presents, when there's a need, presents to the board. Normally, the board receives pretty much that full committee report as a part of the reports that you see here. In this case, it's a little more detailed than that, so we're a bit of a buffer. And we'll be presenting our recommendation, staff and the committee, to the board at the next meeting after we've gone through and have completed the reviews. And at this point, kind of a quick summary is all of the culverts now, we're focused on the culverts more than the road surfaces this year. All of the culverts have been looked at, documented, and broken down into those that are in general okay, the ones that need work. Those that need work then are further broken down into the ones that are affected by something outside the culvert. Water's not going through, so it gets stuck in the culvert, debris in the water. And those that the culvert itself needs work. Those then are broken down into, can we fix it or do we need to replace it? The process right now, or the direction we're headed, is that we're going to replace those that are small. Obviously, you can't get in and do much work on a 12-inch or 18-inch culvert that goes through a road. But the 36, 48-inch ones are high value, and we can get to them to do something. For those that we can do something, they're then broken down into, are we going to do a partial repair? It's corroded on the bottom, but structurally strong. Or is it going to need to be totally lined with a new pipe? So that's the work that's been going on over the last year for the most part. It's coming to a head now, and we'll end up with a list. It'll be a prioritized list of which one gets worked on first and which one gets the last penny we've got to spend. And that's good name. So that's what we'll have. Hopefully next month. We plan to have that next month as a recommendation to the full board.
You're welcome. Okay.
Nicely explained. Very
Yeah.
good.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Jeff. Very good. All righty, moving on, smartly finance.
Thank you very much. We met yesterday. Part of our meeting was presentation of the audit, and you've already seen that, so I don't need to go into any of that. I would point out that on the audit, saw that we had a reduction of almost $960,000 in our funds in this last year. That would have been $3 million had we not had FEMA money. Okay, because we would have had to repair those roads and we would have had to put money in them. So we have to take that into account because, you know, the next rain, the next flood, the damage, hopefully we can repair these culverts so these things don't happen again. But if it does happen, we could be required to spend a substantial amount of money. And that comes out of the funds that we have available. So again, that's something that's very important. To that effect, we have been attempting to increase our interest payments and have actually have about $2.5 million in T-bills. And we have had our first T-bill turnover. And our expectation, and we received about 15,000 from that. And had we kept it in the previous fund, it would have been 10,000. So there's a 50% increase in revenue that we see. I'm going to continue to try to do that. I'm going to leave the liability issue for Jim to talk about. Okay, because I think that's a different kind of issue, and I'll have him do that. The only other thing is that with all of this, as you've seen, the repairs that are needed, with the costs that we've had, the gas tax becomes more and more important. If we're going to go ahead and fix all these things that we're talking about, we're going to need the gas tax or some other increase in revenue. And since it's not very likely that we're going to pass a tax increase in our area, yes. So all these things fit together, and they're really very, very crucial for us. Carol, anything else that you want to report?
No, I just think that we're hopefully headed in the right direction with the T-bills. I think that's a good thing that we're doing. Otherwise, I also have to point out that by inspecting and having a record of all the culverts, if we do have to call in FEMA, we have proof of what we have done. And that will make that whole process easier. So.
And that was what was lacking
Yeah.
the last time, and with Buena Vista as well. And we had all of that. We might not be discussing a $950,000.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It came just a little bit too late.
That's correct.
Yes.
And just thinking back, the one thing that Mr. Adams couldn't figure out is how we get turned out on Sandia Creek, we got turned out on Buena Vista, but the next time it rained, we got paid on Sandia Creek.
That might not be the only thing I couldn't figure out.
The difference really was that we admitted to our error and said, we're gonna fix it, and that was good enough. And that's kind of how bureaucracies work. You know, if you fight them, or you don't do it their way, you lose. But all you have to say is, we'll do it your way this time. And that's what happened. And so they basically gave us, they took our word for it, that we were gonna do it right this time. And they paid us. So it just killed me every time a check was written on Buena Vista for the last few months. We could have,
We won't do
that's
that.
$1 million in our.
That's right.
Hey, we learned and we're doing it right. But that was all it was. All we had to do was do it. And we believe it.
That's my report. Thank you.
Okay, very good, thank you. Very good report. Okay, legislative committee report, talking about the tax bill. Well, obviously, you heard earlier from Cyrus in terms of our update in this area, but just to further a couple of more comments, just to recap in terms of the senator, he did agree to carry our bill, and it's currently being worked on right now, and obviously, we are monitoring the situation. And we'll have a further update when we meet again in February. Jim and I did attend the Senators' Holiday Gathering at the Military and Veteran Support Services offices in Marietta. So that also gave us another opportunity to briefly touch base with the senator. But in addition to that, Supervisor Washington happened to be there. So I had an opportunity to meet him, and we also touched base with him on the subject matter appropriately. And it's there to celebrate the veterans and bring in toys for the kids and things of that nature. So overall, a good opportunity, especially in terms of Supervisor Washington. So that's my report. Anything to add, Jim? Any comment? No?
I think that was a very successful trip we made.
Yeah.
And especially because Debbie was kind of able to get face-to-face time with who's gonna be most likely our new supervisor 8 months from now. And she really got a chance to talk, down to earth, with
Yeah.
what's going on with this gas tax and why it's so important. And I think his response, because I was just watching, he responded to it very well. So I think, it was time well spent, it was the
Right.
holiday time and getting there and, this and that. But once we got there, I think she was able to really
Just
pull
a-
off some good lobbying.
Yeah. Oh, just a little here and there, you don't want to overwhelm them. It's a big turnoff. So,
Yeah.
but anyhow, but we thanked the senator and so forth in terms of the invitation. So anyhow, so a good outcome on that. All righty, so moving on, general manager's report, Mr. Lennon.
So it's that time of year,
Yeah.
Form 700, and I believe Jessica, they're out, right, to everyone? Okay, so we just need you to sign that and get it back to us. It does have a deadline and there's
Right.
penalties, so it's kind of like taxes, paid by the deadline or signed by the deadline. So
Okay,
just a reminder, also, we had an engineering meeting that had been rescheduled, and we did it at noon yesterday. And then it seemed that time worked out pretty good for the people's schedule, like Ron, no traffic, so we can get that there in half the time. And Gina's got, business to run and all, so.
I just like lunch.
So your next meeting will be a resolution to change engineering from 3 o'clock to noon.
okay,
And in the past, that they've had, even board meetings years and years ago, it used to be at 12, but, long. Anyway, so we're gonna make that change. And I think that's it for me.
Did you want to talk about that other issue?
I think I'm gonna hold that maybe till next
Okay,
meeting
great.
with a little more time. And
Okay, great.
because it's kind of complicated.
flush it out a little bit more. So, yeah. Okay, very good. Last but not least.
I'm gonna give you a break. I have no reports.
Oh, that was too easy. Sure, you want to double check?
You do have some information that came up yesterday at finance regarding what's on the November
Yeah,
ballot
right.
and how it would affect. You concur, I thought him off guard today, but he believes, as you stated yesterday, that there is a ballot initiative, but we believe it's a Jarvis ballot
Right.
initiative to make all increases in fees and taxes a 2/3 vote.
Right.
Regardless of who puts it on the ballot. He believes that's true.
Right.
But
Being challenged right now, just he's trying to get it knocked off by their, legal theory that they're proposing. So there is a legal challenge to try to prevent it, but, it's working its way through the courts.
Okay.
Alrighty. Okay, well, very good. Being there no other board business, thank you, everyone. This meeting is now adjourned.